What is up? Welcome to the Hypothetical Comedy Podcast. I am Funky Sam Medina,
And I am Athena Rodriguez.
and we're here with comedian Lloyd Legacy Sharp. What's up, Lloyd?
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. How you doing?
I'll give it abridged honesty here. I've been using the ratio 65 out of 100.
Well, it's better than half.
Which I know is weird for a lot of people. It's like, oh, Lloyd's always so everything.
Yeah, Lloyd's always so
but
happy.
the thing is, as a lot of people online know, a friend of mine passed away last December.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. That's kind of been, that's keeping it from being like 90. Because everything before that and everything since that has been pretty darn good.
Yeah.
You know, I look at 2023 a lot like The Sopranos. It was really fucking good until the very
end. Just like Game of Thrones too, from what I hear.
Yeah, exactly. So like that one bad day, I don't want to conflate it, but like that's been, other than that, things have been good. But that
somebody gave me a good perspective on close people passing away. They said you never get over it, but you just get used to it. And so that's I like that because it's true, you know. It's like you're never truly over it, but like at some point it's like you're kind of used to them not being around.
That is true. Like my mother passed away 21 years ago.
Wow.
And she literally died in my arms when I was 16 years old.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry to hear that. That's insane.
Yeah. Definitely never got over it, but as time went on, it's like, well, this is how it is now.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. My mom died, 12 years ago? And yeah, I mean, same thing. She wasn't in my arms, but I was in the room and I had to leave the room. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Life is wild.
Yeah, it is.
I'm glad that I'm glad you're here. I'm really glad you're doing okay though.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hey,
my father's still here. Bless his soul.
What was that?
My father's still here, thankfully.
Good. That's good. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know much about you, right? But from my perspective of you, you're always like the strong, silent type, but on the Zoom, because when everyone's getting wild on the Zoom, you're always like quiet. But then when it came time for you to perform, you're always really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, just tell us about yourself just a little bit.
Well, first of all, again, thank you. I here in Boston, obviously, lived here pretty much my whole life. I've been to, I don't know, are you guys in California, Washington?
Yeah, we're in the Bay Area, so we're about an hour from San Francisco.
Okay. Yeah. Last time I went to California was 2000 to visit my uncle. Right before traveling got really tedious. And but I've been doing comedy for, as of June, I've been doing comedy 8 years. And
that's incredible, man.
It's been a really weird, it's been a good experience. I don't want to say weird. It's been a good experience, but
weird works too, though. Weird can be good.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't want to go on too deep of a tangent, but like my road to and experience in comedy just is unconventional. Nobody's road is the same, but in talking to people, and when people always ask me, how did you get started in this or how did this happen? It's like, I tell my story, they tell theirs, and mine always seems unconventional because I like, even by the most outlandish standards, because like I went to an open mic in 2016 to watch a friend of mine named Jay DeMille, who I think is just one of the best human beings and comedians that I know. And we were friends before we did comedy. So I literally went to my first open mic, not to do comedy, but to support them.
Wow, that's exciting.
Nice.
So like, I had no concept of like, you know, I know there's a comedy scene, but like, I've never, like, I'm a fan at that point. I watched the sitcoms and the specials. I don't have any idea of what it's like to be in the thing. And so I go to this open mic thing I had no intention of performing. I just want to sit and, oh wow, Mike, cool, my friend, yeah, that. And I'm so supportive and enjoying it so much that, the host of the mic and somebody else was like, we should see if he wants to do this. Apparently, this is the conversation happening behind me that I found out later. They're like, he's really supportive. We should see if he wants to do this. And so he comes up to me. And so the host comes up to me and says, you're really supportive. You got a lot of good energy. Do you want to get up there and do this? I'm like, no. I'm just here to watch my friend. I came here to watch them. I'm good. No, I'm good. Are you sure you don't want to do this? Because you got a lot of good energy. No, thank you. I'm sure. I don't want to. Well, we signed you up. You're up next week. What? And here I am.
How did they even know who you? They didn't even know your name. They signed you up.
No,
that dude in the third row that looks cool.
Like a person who's really enthusiastic about comedy. We want him to do it. That was weird.
That's exciting though. That's crazy. So where was this? You remember?
This was at the Winter Circle in Salisbury, Massachusetts, which apparently had been doing open mics, for long before I got there. Still does it to this day.
Oh, that's cool.
They've had people like, Jimmy Tingle has been there. Mike McDonald is a guy that frequents there. Mike McDonald has worked with people like John Panette and people like that. Justin McKinney, who travels. I don't know how well known he is, but he's been doing this a long time. Really well known here. He's been to Vegas. He's been all over the place, and like that was a weird entry because again, I did not go into. Most people, when they're doing comedy, they'll start with the idea that this is what I want to do. I'm not good at it yet, maybe, but I know that I want to go in there. I have the basic idea. I know this is writing a joke. It's a punchline. Whatever. You know the basics. You just need to know how to do it. I had no idea what the fuck that was. Like, I show up the next week, and okay, they sign me up. I'll do it. And what? Okay, fine. I'll give it a shot. And at least I can say I tried it or whatever. I went back and tried to find like tweets that I had written on Twitter
that were funny.
Yeah, that I thought might be funny. Maybe, and I tried to compile enough of them that somehow comprised into what I felt might be 5 minutes. And I wrote down 70 of them. I chose like 12 of them, and I just tried to find it. Again, I had no idea what I was doing. This is not like I did not go there to do comedy. I was just told to, and so my first night went good enough to where somebody said you should keep doing this. And exciting. But the other thing is that I'll abridge it because I don't want to go too long. But I'll abridge it to say that one of the key factors I took away from doing comedy now, in hindsight, is that it took me 2 years to get my first show. Because again, I say this as a full internalized honesty. I was not very good. One. There are people who can take into a duck to water and they start good and they get better, or there's something there they just haven't found it yet. I always had the stage presence, is what I've always told you. Lloyd always has a stage presence. He makes people want to listen, but the writing wasn't there for a long time. And because I did not know what live comedy was, I'm literally learning as I'm going and getting advice, getting not so great advice from some people and decent advice that I don't know how to use from other people. And it was 2 years of just trying to find out who and what I was. And people see me now who think that I'm really, and I'm not saying whether I'm funny or not. If people think I'm funny, that I'm doing a good job. Whatever I think in here, I'm either wrong, right. One way or another, I'm either right or wrong. Whether it's good about myself, bad about myself, in here, I'm right. I'm probably wrong. Leave it to other people. And people tell me I'm funny. And when I tell them, I'm like, it took me 2 years to get my first show. They're like, what? You? I'm like, yeah. So all of this, if I don't get a Netflix special in 6 months, I'm not doing this anymore. It's like, if it took me, whatever people think I'm worth, whatever people think my work is credible for, if it took me 2 years to get my first show, maybe don't be so harsh.
Yeah,
maybe
I think a lot of people should wait a year to 2 years before they really start doing big shows, just because, like you said, you had the stage presence, but you didn't have the writing down. And I feel like the stage presence is the harder thing to learn than the writing.
Oh,
Being comfortable on stage. I tell new comics, just be comfortable on stage. Say anything in the world, just be comfortable on the stage first. And so you had a leg up, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And well, that's the thing, because I've always had a flair for the theatrics, so to speak. Like my mother.
Do you have any stage background like before comedy?
That's the thing. I have been mistakenly identified as a theater kid all my life.
Oh wow!
You just have that aura to you, or what?
I guess. Like, okay, so here's where I'll level, because like my mother wanted to send me to acting school when I was 7. She saw, now again, people often tell me that I missed my calling as a 90s child actor. Given what I know about kids who grew up acting in the 90s, I think it's a call that I'm
especially
I might not be alive to answer the phone again if I had gotten that call. But
scam likely.
Especially after recent documentaries. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And even before the Nickelodeon foot guy. Just, I mean, Macaulay Culkin never worked a day on iCarly, and he just found himself. So,
yeah,
just
you're right.
Just that I mean, and Orlando Brown, the guy on That's So Raven, I think it's Orlando Brown, whatever his name is. He was on he wasn't even a part of, he was on the other channel. He wasn't even on Nickelodeon. He was on the other channel. and he so, but that being aside, my mother saw something in me when I was really young that, said this guy, he's going to be stage acting, whatever. But it was the early 90s. I lived in Dorchester, Massachusetts, Dorchester, as people outside this state probably know it as. Money wasn't there for it, but she saw it then. The Michael Jackson stuff that people have probably seen everybody's seen me do Michael Jackson on the internet. That was something I started doing in 1994.
Wow.
As exercise, like just something to do, because I'm not going to the gym at 7. So like I started doing that as exercise, and because we lived in a house where if you do that in an apartment, you make noise, I went outside and did it, and I became an indirect street performer, doing Michael Jackson dancing exercises on the street. People were pulling up in Dorchester and Roxbury, hey. Now, look, they didn't mean it like this, but they would pull up and they would say, do that dance again. So I do that. They didn't mean it like that. They didn't mean it like that. Just just do it. Like they didn't want me to. I'm a kid in a red hat, whatever. They don't want me to be scared. Like just keep dancing. So they do it. They pull out $5, $10, $20.
Oh,
just
nice.
give me money and drive off.
Wow.
So I'm not a theater kid by definition. I did like 2 middle school plays. I was a tree once.
You made a great
and
tree,
I did another role where I had a speaking role where I ran away from something like 2 years later. But I don't want to perpetuate something, because I have a lot of admiration for people who do theater and do that kind of thing. I don't want to perpetuate something that I am not a theater kid. I do have street performing experience. I am used to being in front of people. I have a natural, just I guess, theatrics about me, but I'm not a theater kid, even though everybody that sees me on stage or talks, like, have you done theater? Were you in Broadway? I'm like, was I on Broadway?
Whoa,
like your aura. It's very theatrical.
That escalated though from theater to Broadway.
Yes, I did Maggie's Lounge in Quincy. I did Dennis Hurley. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that name, but he does comedy on the West Coast. I did a show with him in late 2019, and after the show, people were coming up to me and being like, "Have you ever considered a one-man show? Have you done Broadway?" I'm like, I've only been getting booked for a year and a half at this point. No, I have not done Broadway. No, I'm not ready for a one-man show. What the fuck? Thank you, but no.
Comedy. You do sketch comedy. Have you been on SNL?
Right? Oh my God. Hampton, Connecticut. Somebody said Danny Bazungas. One of the first shows I did alongside him. Somebody in the cellar was like, yo, man, this dude needs to be on SNL. I just did stand-up comedy, and they're like, okay. I'm gonna tell one more wild
absolutely.
Too much, and then I'm gonna let you continue with the questions. Here's why I don't get here's the unconventionalism. COVID happened, as we know. That's why we're here. And then before things are opening up, I host a open mic on Instagram Live for Old Dirty Boston, that channel.
Okay.
Steve Sweeney catches wind of me, and Steve Sweeney sees me. I've never met Steve Sweeney at that point. I met him since, but I hadn't met him at this point. He's only seen me on screen. he sees me do like a couple of things on Old Dirty Boston, tells Jason Faulkner, give me Lloyd Legacy Sharp's number. I get a call from Steve Sweeney. And oh my gosh, Steve Sweeney. And the first thing he says is, why aren't you working clubs? I'm like,
Wow.
I haven't seen me on what? Okay. And then about a year and a half later, Lenny Clark is doing an open mic, hosting an open mic in Somerville. And I attend the first one, Lenny Clark, why not? And then well, afterwards, I go up to thank him, like, yo, Mr. Clark, thank you. And he's like, oh, are you Lloyd Legacy Sharp? Yes, I just want to say. And then he's like, no, you've got something. Kid, you've got something. Oh, thank you. And I don't want to crowd him. I want to give him his face. He grabs me by the arm and puts that freaking Southie fucking grip. He's like, no, listen, you've got something. You've got something. Keep up the good work. You've got something. I'm like, thank you. Ow, thank you, Mr. Clark. So it's been very weird. Very weird. I don't know.
You've had a lot of people kind of like in your corner and kind of what's the word? Validating you in your comedy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. A lot of people don't get that, you know, so that's amazing.
Yeah, it's overwhelming sometimes because, like, I'm not going to argue with Lenny Clark and Steve Sweeney about comedy, but
you're not.
But them seeing something in me that I don't know what they see. I'm glad they see it. I'll put it that way.
No, I find it very interesting that you said that growing up, your mom always said that she saw something in you, and then you're kind of like going through your adulthood and all these strangers are telling you the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just reinforcing it. I think that's interesting.
Maybe it's like a charisma or something like that, right? Like a stage presence. And
I
then
guess
your
so.
mom saw you're little.
Yeah, like it was 1991, 92 when she first said that, you know, she wanted to send me to acting school. I was 6 or 7 at that point.
Wow, that's
so like it is like I don't take anything away from. I mean, if other people think that, I'm not going to tell them they're wrong. It's their interpretation of whatever I present to them. But at the same time, it's weird because I don't even have that high of a. I'm not that much of a mark for myself.
Yeah, you don't believe your own
So-
stuff. Hey, did you ever take any kind of classes though, or is it all just kind of natural? Like you never took that acting class, right? Your mom wanted you. You never did that.
No, never took an acting class. Yet now people tell me you should get on backstage and you'll get. I'm like, wow, okay. I took in 2018. I took a workshop from a local comedian, Sterling Smith, hosts a workshop in Arlington for like she still hosted, but at that point it was more frequent. It wasn't a class. It wasn't like you know, people here like Kathy Ferris or Gary Peterson or people like that, Will Noonan, they teach, or Tony V, they teach classes. This wasn't like that. It was just you know, get up on stage, you know, do your set. Everybody in the room will write down what was funny to them on a piece of paper. And they'll write down any critiques they have at the bottom. And then we all collected all the notes that people wrote for us at the end and kind of reviewed it. And, you know, and if there was something across multiple pieces of paper from different people that weren't saying this to each other, but they all kind of noticed the same thing, critique or credit, we would kind of take note of that and, you know, go with it. Yeah, she's really good at setting that kind of stuff up. That's as close to a class for anything.
Like
I've never taken stand-up classes. I've never taken acting classes. I've never done anything like that.
That kind of workshop though, it sounds great because you know you're getting real-time feedback from your peers on all your stuff.
Yeah,
it's not just like you know
really
me coming up to you after your set being like, oh, that was good. Maybe you could say this or whatever. It's like literally like real-time feedback. So that's really that's a really great concept. I like that a lot.
I like it.
Through that workshop, I learned because people who talk to me in real life and then listen to me do comedy, they notice that there's a very different speed that I go at. Like in real life, I'm a mile a minute, but when I'm doing comedy, I'm much more deliberate and much more methodical because one of the things I learned from that workshop is slow down.
Oh
yeah,
yes.
same.
Big one.
That's one of my biggest problems.
Because around the time in 2018, I was starting to find the writing that was going with my onstage style. And, you know, people like Kathy Ferris and Sarah Martin and people like that were, you know, saying Lloyd, you're starting to say some funny things, but you talk so fast that you don't pause long enough to let the funny thing you're saying land. So the advice, so what I got from a lot of the papers was like, slow down. And because I have such a natural, what one person called wrestling promo delivery, and then other people have co-opted that. But like, because I know how to milk beats and pauses, somebody wrote down, when you know how to sit in silence, use that. And then I showed that to Kathy Ferris. I showed that to Sterling Smith, and they're like, "Yeah, try. When you say something that you think is funny, stop there, and your natural body language. If you react to what they're doing, or you may even get more laughs by just reacting to them, and you can use that to milk like all these things. And like that is kind of where I learned how to mesh my stage presence with my writing and delivery, because I can't talk like this and do comedy for various listening speeds. And that workshop really helped me to get that down. But other than that, no, I've never really taken anything creatively educational. I exist.
Yeah, I learned, I've been doing comedy for over 10 years, and I learned last year really how to use the power of silence, because my jokes take a little, because I kind of put the dots, right? And I let you connect the dot yourself. And so my jokes take a little bit of time for you to process. So if I deliver a joke and then I'm right off to the next joke, then you don't have time to process. And so I've learned to just throw my joke out there and then just kind of stand there in silence for about 3 to 5 seconds. And it's one time recently, actually, I said this joke and it didn't land. And so I didn't say anything for a couple of seconds, and then you can hear the laughter, like a wave of laughter, like people just got it, and you can hear the wave of laughter just go through the whole room, and it was great.
Slow burn.
Yeah. Most of my stuff is a slow burn, and so that's why I need to really give them time to process it.
And that's one of those things that come with cadence and delivery that, like, especially if you're naturally highly energetic. Like, I'm half energetic, half anxious. But but if that's natural for you, then like your translation to, again, it's just in my experience, your translation to your stage delivery has to be almost the exact opposite, because it won't click. Like you said, especially if most of your material is slow, like thinker, slow burn, highbrow kind of stuff, which some of my stuff is, but not all of it. I was told once I was too highbrow for Providence, Rhode Island. And the person who said that to me was from New Jersey. So
I guess they would know about lowbrow. Just kidding.
Yeah, I guess so. It's what do they know in Hackensack?
No brow.
But yeah, that's something if most of your material is like that, then yeah, you probably gotta take 3 to 5 seconds per joke.
Per joke, yeah, absolutely. And I just kind of learned that last year, and it's been really fun to do it, especially when the joke, like I said, doesn't hit, but then like people laugh later, a few seconds later. I love it.
Yeah. You'll get that one tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll get it tomorrow. Hey, so tell us about the Michael Jackson thing. You talked about the Michael Jackson thing a little bit. How far did you go with that? Are you still doing it?
Oh man, that's more unorthodoxness. I
love it though. I love it.
And have you heard of a wrestler named Santana Jackson?
Oh yes. Do you know
Santana? Yeah. So here's one external perk of everybody knowing my karaoke alter ego. I get the best Michael Jackson clips just sent to me by random people who are like, "You'll like this. You'll like this." Michael Jackson hitting an elbow in the ring, or Michael Jackson, punching the bag and doing I get the truck that's leaning with Smooth Criminal. Like people send me because they see it and they like. So yeah, so yes. By proxy of people being like, Lloyd does Michael Jackson. He'll like, if he likes wrestling.
His finisher is the moonwalk DDT.
Yes, which is pretty sick. So the Michael Jackson thing, one of those things that was never supposed to be a thing and became a thing on accident. Because for me, it's always been a form. I do like daily dance choreography indoors here. It's exercise. Like it's a way to exercise without paying $20 a month at Planet Fitness. And so one day I'm hanging out in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. Charlie's Tap House is the name of the karaoke bar. This is like 7 years ago. I do "You Rock My World" by Michael Jackson as myself, just I'm me. I don't have the thing; it's not there yet. But I do a dance during. I do like a little shuffle during "You Rock My World," and apparently, as I was told later, because I'm up there, I don't know what's happening back there, but like the owner sees me and says, "That kid's got something."
Everywhere you go, man, you got something.
He's an entertainer, man. He's an entertainer. We should get him to lean into that.
Wow.
And so
crazy.
And so for the next several months, like, the staff and the cook in the back, who I got to know, and the owner, whenever he saw me, he's like, Lloyd, you do a me and Michael Jackson. You ever thought about leaning into it? I'm like, no. Don't ever. This already happened with comedy. I didn't say that, but that's what I'm thinking. Don't exalt me. I'm just here to do karaoke like everybody else. Don't don't make me into it. No. And so months and months, hey, you should lean in. And I said, no, you should. I don't want to. No, you should. This is America. And I know I look like this, but still no. So October 2017, every year they do a Halloween contest. The DJ, and if he ever sees this, he'll know who I'm referring to. He'll know I'm talking about him. The DJ approaches me and says, hey, Lloyd, we would like you to participate in this year's Halloween costume contest. And I'm like, oh, really, Ben?
Well, we want you to dress up as.
Yeah, what costume? This, after all this time, I didn't say this like this, but I'm thinking, after all this time of trying to get me to lean into a certain thing that I've said no to, gosh, what costume do you have in mind? And he pulls it out. Well, we got this soldier's jacket and this glove. I'm like, damn it, Ben, I told you. He's like, no, Lloyd, we just want you to be in the it's just for the contest. It is just for the contest. I'm like, yeah, Ben, you run. He's like, just for the contest. Come on, it's just for the contest. And you know what? I'm like, he got the costume for me. He went out of his way to do that. I had a feeling, and it was later proven to be a conspiracy on the part of him and the head bartender. Dang. But at this point, it's like, okay, fine. Give me the fucking thing. Whatever. So October 2017, October 28th was the day that Michael Legacy Jackson made his official debut. Wow. But a week before that, I'm at the bar. I'm trying it on. I'm going to do this a week from now. I got to make sure this fits or whatever and try it on a little bit. It's not put together. There's the hair and the thing. And then my name is called as I'm just like trying on the stuff, shirt not tucked in, whatever. But my name is called and it's Billie Jean. So I'm like, I can't. I'm just going to go do it. And there's a video that was captured by my friend Nikki of me and again, unintentional dress rehearsal, because my name was called. I went up there and like the crowd fucking lost it just for that. And so I should have known that night that, okay, this is something that people are gonna like, but I'm still thinking, this is not. If I do this on Saturday, one night, it's gonna be dead on arrival. No one's gonna give a fuck. No one's gonna want it. No one's gonna want me to do it again. No. I do it on Saturday, October 28th, 2017. Before the first song is over, after I do my first song, before the night's even over, are you coming back? Are you gonna be doing this again? Is this a regular thing? Dude, where can I find you? Do you do this? I'm like, oh my God, fucking Jesus Christ. And that's how that started.
Wow, that's incredible. So do you still do the Michael Jackson karaoke?
Yeah,
that's
awesome. I don't know how, if you're not as on social media as other people, God bless you. I try to stay away from it as well when I don't need to. But if you are a frequent viewer of either my Facebook or my Instagram, you'll see clips as recent as last week.
I'll check them out. My most social media stuff is wrestling only. I only really look at the wrestling.
No, that's fair. That's fair. That's good enough. If you're gonna be on social media, one, why? But two, wrestling is kind of the thing that'll make it more palatable. But yeah, 7 years, which is 6 years and 364 days longer than I thought the thing would last. And now it's not just in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. I did it at the Midway of the Highway open mic, like on Halloween 2021. Karaoke is a thing that happens at Midway Cafe on Thursdays over here, and the overseers of that saw that, and I made a joke. I'm like, maybe this could be a place in Boston where Michael Legacy Jackson could be, and they said, yeah, please do. And I'm like, oh, I was just kidding. Okay, so I did it there, and now it's a thing there. And then the Jungle, the Jungle, which is another place that does a comedy over here in Boston. It's also a music club. They caught wind of it and encouraged me to try it there, and I did. And now it's a thing there. And then the People's Karaoke was a local staple here in Boston. I've been trying to get to them for years. Like, somebody encouraged me to do it there with them. And I did that for the first time 2 weeks ago, and now it's a thing there. And so, and people over here, Kings at Back Bay, Boston over here, they want me to, they saw it somewhere. It's like, you should try it. You should try it here. We never get anybody here. You should try it there. Maybe bring some friends. And the MJ thing, yeah, do it here. So now they want to see it. So yeah, it's an entire other onstage life now. There's comedy, and then there's karaoke attraction act.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm still doing it. Long story short.
Very incredible. So I don't know if you know this. We brought up Santana Jackson earlier, and he kind of did the same thing as you, because he was a Michael Jackson impersonator, I guess. And he would do concerts and shows, right? And then I don't know how he got involved in wrestling, but the wrestling just kind of like took over, and now he has to balance the wrestling and the performances, and the performances are huge.
Like
I've seen pictures of him just doing his like on stage stuff, and it's huge for the huge crowds. And so the Michael Jackson stuff is super popular, and it takes off, and apparently, like, you're doing great with it. That's a fantastic.
Thank you,
dude.
It's fun.
I was thinking about, while you were just describing that whole experience, right?
By the way, I've been rambling and tangenting. I'm so sorry. I do.
No, yes.
This is about you.
Yeah, this is what
we
we're here
want
for.
you to talk.
This is what we're here for.
I was thinking about how it would be really dope, because like this whole thing started about you trying to be fit and exercise. So could you imagine if you went around and you were teaching people how to like exercise dance while still like doing your routine for comedy as well? It's almost
God.
It's like completely immersive,
or
right?
even like online classes, like online exercise.
Oh, they'd love
classes,
it. Oh my
like that.
goodness.
That'd be pretty cool. You can make some money doing that.
Hell yeah. I think
I have gotten
like that. That sounds fun.
I have gotten a suggestion of like, meshing somehow the comedy and the MJ stuff. And it's not a bad idea on paper. The only problem with it is that at this point, like, because both things are already kind of established in their own, like,
they're all separate.
bases.
Yeah. They're separate.
And because my style as a comedian completely counteracts the energy that I bring to Michael Legacy Jackson.
Yeah.
So it's like, in order to do one or the other, the thing that people come to see me do, whether they come to see me do Michael Jackson, or whether they come to see me do comedy, if I try to be the stoic on stage presence that I am as Michael Jackson, people who come to see me do Michael Jackson are going to be like, why the fuck isn't he dancing? Why isn't he doing the moves? Why isn't he singing? Why is he telling jokes? Why is he just standing there looking like Michael Jackson and not doing the things that I know him to be doing for the last 7 years? And then if somebody comes to see me do comedy, and I try to do I do my comedy in a Michael Jackson fashion, people are going to be like, why is Lloyd breaking away from what's been working for him to try to mesh his jokes that are best done when it's spaced out, and when it's delivered, and when it's slow, and when he's why is he trying to mesh like it? The styles clash too much.
Yeah.
Oh,
And in order for you to do that, you would have to talk and deliver like Michael Jackson as well.
What?
But here's what I'm thinking. Are you ready for this? What if Lloyd Legacy Sharp opened for Michael Legacy Jackson?
See, that can be done.
Oh,
that
dang.
can be done.
Like you do like a 20-minute set, intermission,
Yes.
you go change, you come back out, and you do your Michael Jackson
Holy cannoli. I love
that. That was almost a thing. There's a guy named Nathaniel Gundy in Boston. He was running a show at Midway Cafe, ironically enough. And he had the idea. We talked about the idea of like me doing a comedy set and then coming out later on as Michael Legacy Jackson. Unfortunately, his show got canceled. So it was we never got that far. But that is as close to making it work without either one suffering for what people, for what's been like. That's as close to making it. And that I can do. Obviously, I don't
think that'd be cool, like a one-man show type of thing.
Yeah.
Like both your pictures on the flyer, like your picture is Michael Jackson's like the main flyer picture, and then it shows Lloyd Legacy Sharp in the corner, whatever, like opening act or whatever.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I guess featuring, if it's only 2 people, you'd be featuring for yourself.
And then you're gonna be people like completely immersed in the show. They're part of the show, and it's so cool. I want to hear you say, you know, like, all right, now we're gonna do 20 moonwalks in 3. I think that's gonna be so dope.
See that I think could make a great skit.
Oh yeah, like a TikTok, like for TikTok,
yeah. TikTok, like because again, like that, like it's a great idea. Like I'm not knocking the idea. It's just like, but even if it wouldn't work in an actual like as a continuous thing in real life because of what people expect when they see one or the other, as a standalone skit or a series of them, that could work.
You have to do it. You have to jump on it.
If I decide to do that idea, I will make sure I credit Athena with the.
Just let us know you did it so we can enjoy it and watch it. That's all I have.
That's all I have. Absolutely.
Fair enough. Well, intellectual property is what it is. I'm going to say the brainchild is of Athena. I'm just living it out.
So here's a word that we've said a lot: legacy. Tell us about the name Legacy.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. Another thing that was not supposed to be a thing. So back when my brother passed away, I started doing music independently because I wanted a way to try to cope with it without doing this or this or this. Which I would later go on to do. I would later go on to try to do that 3 times and fail, and then okay, might as well stick around. But that's another story. Oh,
just for people, is it only audio? So when he said the this, it was drugs, suicide, and what was the other one?
What do they say now? Unaliving oneself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Suicides. I forgot about that. That's a new thing. Yeah, unaliving.
Yeah. I don't know if it's I know YouTube cracks down on that word, so maybe there's a reason for it, but suicide. 3 times suicide attempt survivor right here, as if it's a.
Well, I'm glad that you're still with us, Lloyd.
Thank you. Same here. But before that, when my mother passed away, I dealt with it by doing music, and I'm like, all right, well, this is 2003. Everybody's got to have a gimmick in music, so it's like, and I didn't want to. I didn't do the kind of music. I mean, I know 50 Cent was the thing, Eminem back then. I am unconventional. I am not going to pass for that. And I had a song up on MySpace in 2008 called "Respect the Lady," so I was not going to pass for a Eminem 50 Cent type. But I needed a nickname, so I'm playing NBA Ballers for Xbox one day. The original Xbox, which in my opinion should be the Xbox One, but the original Xbox, and my character was called Legacy. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. So my music nickname was Legacy, but people that knew me at the time, specifically a friend of mine from Brighton High School named Ricky, and some people in my family, and a couple of friends I had in the neighborhood, they started calling me Legacy when I started doing my music. And they knew my name was Lloyd, but they just started calling me, "Hey, Legacy!" Like they just started calling me that. And so now Legacy is becoming what people are calling me, even as I'm even by the time I kind of like 2008 is when I was offered a record deal and turned it down because of the music industry. And that's a whole other story. But even after I stopped pursuing music as a full-time thing, people were still calling me Legacy. So as I noticed that this is going to be a name that stuck with me, even when I wasn't doing what it started, in 2005, I came up with an acronym that I felt like if I never do music again, but people are still calling me this, I may as well stick with it. But I want to have it be something that I can tie to myself rather than just a name that sounds cool. So the acronym is Love Ever Growing as Contempt Yields. And that to me is a very accurate description of how I live and how I've tried to uphold myself. So that's my version of legacy, Legacy.
That's cool.
And even though I'm not doing music anymore actively, people like the name just became synonymous with me. So I've kept it, but only thinking of it in that acronym. And that's why pretty much for the last 21 years, it started as a music thing. I adopted it. I made it my own. People call me it. And it's not a stage name right now. It is a stage name, but it didn't start as a stage name. That's how it started. And I just carried it over ever since.
Wow. That's exciting. And it's like almost like your life motto too, the acronym.
Absolutely.
Well, do people, so when you show up to open mics, do people say, "What's up, Lloyd?" or they say, "What's up, Legacy" to you?
Both.
Okay. However people feel like addressing you at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
Exactly.
I felt weird because I said, I referred to you as hello, Lloyd, when we started the podcast. I'm like, should I have said Legacy? I don't know.
Right. It doesn't sound right either way. It's like, okay, if I say Legacy, is he gonna be like, my name's Lloyd?
I leave it up to people. However people want to do it, I leave it up to them. I will say this, because this happened like in 2015, and people were more mad about it than I was, but there was a brief time where Facebook was cracking down on names that didn't look real.
Yeah. And they were basing it off of, from what I understand, they were basing it off of the email you signed up with, right? So if you signed up with timsmith@gmail.com and your name was Lloyd Sharp, then they're going to be like, that's not your name, bro.
You're not Tim.
Right. So there was a brief time in like 2015 where the Legacy was taken out of my name by Facebook. And again, I wasn't a comedian at this point. I had a presence online because I had just gotten away from another long story short. I just gotten out of a really dark period in my life, and I was getting family and friends back, and I was emerging as myself. And the people that screwed with me were on their way down a spiral that I call karma. But that's another story. At this point, Lloyd Legacy Sharp on Facebook, everybody was used to it. And then for one day, the Legacy was missing. I didn't even point it out. I'm like, oh, well, I'll deal with this internally. People were like, my friend Greg was the first, Greg Kellogg in New Hampshire. First, why isn't Legacy in your name? And then people started like, yeah, what the fuck? Where's Legacy? Why aren't you calling yourself? Did you take it? Like everybody noticed it. I didn't even mention it, but like everybody that saw that Legacy was gone, it was like, I swear to God, it was like it was Daniel Bryan not being in the Rumble. It was Kofi Kingston not going to WrestleMania. It was The Rock trying to shove Cody Rhodes aside. People were just like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't change the Facebook. And they're like, well, get it back. And I'm like, go talk. Yeah, I'm going to go to Cambridge. He don't even in Cambridge anymore. I'm going to go find Zuckerberg and tell him, people are getting mad at me because you took my That's how synonymous it became, where people were actively angry. And like one person in Mississippi, I have a friend out there who's an author who I advised on her situation. She credits me with getting out of I'm not gonna say her name, but she credits me with getting out of an abusive marriage. She got out of the marriage. I advised her. I recommended, but she credits me for not being in. She's in Mississippi, and she credits again.
Sometimes though, you need that person to tell you, yeah, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, that's fair. I just feel like a woman getting away from an abusive man that she's legally bound to, I feel like if she did it, she should get the bulk of the credit, but she's telling me that. Anyway, that's a different story. She contemplated starting a petition on change.org.
Oh, wow.
She didn't do it. She mentioned it. That's how mad she was, because she saw all this uproar. She was mad. Like the friends of mine, kids in the Philippines, who at that point had been like, who I swear to God, no lie, we used to walk around with signs of my hash of like, no, never give up, never stay down, keep moving, like that kind of thing. They noticed. I'm like, Manila is more mad about this than I am.
Wow.
So, long story short, I don't tell anybody how Lloyd Legacy Sharp is how I'm called up on stage, because it just kind of flows that way. And whenever people ask me, I'm like, yeah, address me as that. That's how, it works. But conversationally, I leave it up to people. If legacy's not seen in my name, people get mad, apparently. But I will not tell anybody, I won't demand, you got to call me Lloyd, or you got to call me whatever you wish. Just, I'll make sure that Zuckerberg doesn't do that again. I guess.
You got him on speed dial now, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know how important the stage name is. I got that funky, and I get sad when people don't say it.
Nice. I mean, that's the thing. When the funky, like when I noticed that wasn't there, I'm like, is he going through something? Is he on?
No, I don't keep it on my main page. My main page is San Medina. I have like a funky San Medina like separate page.
Yeah.
But
For the stuff, for the lulz.
For all the stuff. Hell yeah, man. So you mentioned wrestling a couple times, and I've seen you in photographs and stuff with the championship belt on stage. Talk to us about like the belts on stage, but also just like your fandom of wrestling.
Hella dope.
Oh boy. So the belt on stage, once again, wasn't supposed to be a thing. Worked. All right, so I'll start with that. Then the fandom of wrestling, that's a 80s. So belt on stage, during lockdown, it was a thing called Quarantine Action Wrestling, which was a hybrid live action e-fed improv sketch comedy wrestling federation.
The fuck?
That
Sounds complicated as hell.
It was great. The entire series is on the entire series is on YouTube. And so
direct me to that because I want to see it. How do I find it? Because I'm not going to type all that stuff you just said.
No, thankfully you don't have to. It's called Quarantine Action Wrestling. Well, Titan Wrestling Online.
Okay.
It's now been rebranded to Titan Wrestling Online because it's still going, but it was rebooted. But
I definitely
the belt.
Check it out. But go on.
Yeah, the belt. Because I don't want to tangent off of that before I get to the belt. The belt. So I won the championship in that federation. Like I became the champion midway through that federation's run. And how it worked was me and like everybody else, it was comedians, improvisers, local actors, local sketch actors. Like we all played the real life versions of ourselves in the vignettes and in the promos. And then the matches in the ring were done on like WWE 2K. So in order to like, it was kind of like, like the Three Stooges had a cartoon like in the 60s when it was Curly Joe, and it was them in real life, and then the cartoon version of them, or like Hulk Hogan Rockin' Wrestling, where they had like it started with the real life vignettes and then the cartoon, basically real life cartoon.
The Mario Brothers cartoon.
Yeah, where it's like it's real life live action, then the stuff happened. The rest of it happened in the game. So I won the championship. Yeah, exactly, and I think that's why it worked so well because it's on Twitch when it was live, and then it was on YouTube. So like it was easy viewing where everything transitions.
You could do the promos and play the game from home. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So like so I won the championship, and I'm like, but I can't play the role of the champion in real life without a belt. So this is during lockdown still. So like we're all this is basically why it became a thing, because like we're all going crazy. What do we do? Oh, let's make a wrestling federation. So I ordered the belt. I have two belts, but the Winged Eagle is the one that most people have seen me. You probably seen me with a picture.
Yeah, and that's my favorite belt of all time, by the way.
Yes, it is. It is the best wrestling championship ever, in my opinion. The big cookie is fine. Austin made it work, but I mean, Bret Hart coming down to the ring with the Winged Eagle you're not going to top that.
Yeah, the Bret Hart belt, exactly.
So I got that belt, and I used that belt as my prop for playing the champion of Quarantine Action Wrestling. And one day, my father comes in. He's I'm in my living room right now, actually. He's standing over. I'm cutting a promo in front of there. I'm recording a promo to send in to them. He's standing over there, and he's like, boy, you look good with that belt. That belt might work for you in your comedy. I'm like, this will never get over. I use wrestling term because he's a wrestling fan. This will never get over. This is not going to get over. Seriously? Really, Dad? No. But he's like, you never know. You never know. And he just said, you never know. And he sauntered away. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'll try it maybe one night. I'll give it I tried it during a midway of the highway virtual mic one night. And then Daniel McRoby, who used to be a Boston comic and is now out west, saw me and was like, when did Lloyd get a championship belt? That looks so right on him. And I'm like, oh, great. One of my personal favorite comedians and a person I consider a friend within the business, but a very hard person to impress because he knows this shit. It got his approval. Okay, so I can't just ditch it now. I gotta try it a couple more times, and then eventually things kind of opened back up, and I did it on stage. I used it on stage a few times, and somehow it worked.
It looks dope.
It does. It does look dope on you. I like it.
And I'm like, this isn't supposed to be working. but it works. I'm not even supposed to be up here doing comedy. I was supposed to be watching my friend do an open mic, and now I'm here. I'm not supposed to be doing Michael Jackson 7 years after somebody told me to participate in the Halloween costume contest. And now I'm here. This belt is not supposed to be working, and now it's working. But also, there's a way that I do it because I don't want to use it the entire set. So I use it as a quote-unquote symbol of authority. And I hold it on my shoulder for like a minute as I tell an opening joke that, I'm using this authority to point out that, either it's, stop saying new year, new me. It's biologically incorrect. Or, I'm using this authority to say I'm sorry to women everywhere for the fact that problematic men exist. Or I'm using this belt to say that, people say pimping ain't easy. You know what else isn't easy? Being pimped. And after the opening joke, I drop the belt and go on as normal.
Wow.
That's the genesis of the wrestling belt and how it's used today.
But that's a fun way to start your set because they say, the audience decides that they like you within the first 5 to 10 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
And so you go up there with the belt and you're like, hey, this. And then they love you.
Yes. And I can't tell you how many times, and then it also works well because every now and then I'll do my Hulk Hogan intro. So I have alternate intros. And when I'm in a really loud room or a music club or a restaurant where nobody's paying attention, or a capo where Will Noonan does his show, and I'm encouraged to get the crowd's attention, sometimes just me walking up with shades and a belt gets the crowd's attention enough. And they're laughing before I even say anything because they don't know what's going to happen. But sometimes you're at a place called Capo in South Boston, and Will Noonan and the DJ will encourage you to do your Hulk Hogan intro to get the crowd to shut up. So when I go up there with the belt and the DJ's playing you out to Real American,
that's perfect.
Then it plays perfectly into you saying, well, let me tell you something, Wednesday Maniacs. What you gonna do when a comedy of the night brother runs wild on you? And then I drop the belt while coughing and welcome to the affirmative action section of the show. And that's how that starts.
Wow.
Depends on the intros. Sometimes it's Hogan, sometimes it's symbol of authority. It depends on the crowd.
Yeah, it's Hogan if you want to be loud. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's a great way to call attention from
that
the
is
crowd.
a great way. Absolutely.
Oh man, I'm gonna do that next time.
I mean, you sound close enough. You sound close enough to him, and because you're using his mannerisms while he's talking, and that's definitely people are gonna Hulk Hogan, what? And they're gonna
right, exactly.
They're gonna stop what they're doing for a second at least.
Hulk's here.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
So wrestling fandom, part 2 of the question. Somehow I think this is the simplest one because
this was supposed to happen.
This was
the only thing in your life that was supposed to happen.
Yes. I started watching, I was 3 years old. Wow. And I remember seeing a giant red and yellow man, marching to the ring and pointing at somebody. And I'm like, that's so cool! No, I want a poster! No, I want a poster! And so, before you know it, the next year I had a Hulk Hogan poster in my room on Hewitt Street. I didn't even know who Hulk Hogan was. I just knew I saw a red and yellow man pointing at somebody in the ring, and I thought that was the best thing ever. Because I'm 3 years old. I don't know what things are yet, but I do know. I knew colors. I knew. Yeah, exactly. I know colors. I know. Yeah, exactly. Don't even know you're alive. But the first thing I remember seeing of wrestling was, big red and yellow man pointing at the ring while walking. That's how I got into wrestling, and been a fan pretty much ever since. Just the sheer theatrics of it, like entrance music, walk into the ring, like it's a real life comic book cartoon universe.
It really
that
is. Yeah.
You cannot create in any other real life scenario other than on a set with special effects.
Oh yeah.
Like it is as close to a real life comic book universe as you can get. And that's how I was taking. AJ Haypenny shared a post that said, wrestling is just swole theater kids. Which, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. Like, some people are better actors than others. Hulk Hogan for all the shit he got, great actor. Really, in wrestling, great wrestling actor. He could sell. He could oversell anything. I never want to see Holds Barred again. But in wrestling,
he made a lot of money in Hollywood. I'm just saying.
Like, he made a lot of money. America makes a lot of money from war. Do we deserve it? No. Hulk Hogan made a lot of money. Should it have gone to somebody else? I'd have given all his earnings to Roddy Piper. But that notwithstanding, in wrestling, Hogan was, who paid for the plastic surgery, Mean Gene? You can't, who does? First of all, who does that? Second of all, keep doing it. Now, obviously, nobody's ever going to confuse Lex Luger for being, Al Pacino of wrestling. But
no, I don't think so.
But wrestling is just like it's the perfect combination of everything you could want on camera. Off camera, there's a lot of things I'd rather not have. But on camera, it's the perfect combination of everything you could ever want in entertainment. Athletics, acting, over the top, comedy, serious, drama. It's like that, all of that. Like, why did I become so theatrical as a kid? Probably because I grew up watching Hulk Hogan, Macho Man.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's that. Now, obviously, I've gotten older, and I still love wrestling. I love the idea, the prospect of it. My father's the mark now. I'm the dated mark.
Is your dad newly into wrestling?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
My father watches more wrestling than I. My father watches Raw on Monday, freaking NXT on Tuesday, Dynamite on Wednesday, Impact on Thursday, SmackDown and Rampage on Friday, Collision on Saturday. If there's a pay-per-view for WWE, we're watching that. Like,
that's dope.
Like, again, I'm good. I envy him. Like, I have become the jaded smark who's like, I used to be like, when I used to be, no, don't hurt Hogan, no, bad DiBiase, bad. Now my father's one who's like, no, don't hurt Cena, no, leave Cody alone. Like, I'm not even hating. I envy it. I want that. Because I used to sit there and be like, man, I want Austin to kick Triple H's ass. I want him to take him down. Now I'm like, oh, AJ versus Finn Balor, it'll be a great match. Don't care who wins. Like, that's where I've gotten to. Up until this year. This year, Cody needed to finish the fucking story. But before, there were like the Daniel Bryan story that got me. The Kofi story that got me. The Shield breaking up that got me. I haven't been a can't miss this fan since the mid 2000s. Oh, yeah. Like where it's like where you just have to see every episode. What's gonna happen? You have to do it. Like when Eddie Guerrero died, I was like, and I found out how he died. Like Eddie Guerrero died because of everything that he did to be the best wrestler he could be, and what he did to his body for that. That made me feel weird about the business because like Eddie, he just jacked himself full of shit that even when he wasn't on it anymore, it eventually killed him. Yeah. That made me feel even as like I'm like 19 at the time, but I feel weird because like I love Eddie Guerrero, and he ironically died the same way that my mother did. Heart failure in Chavo's arms, And my mother smiled at me before she died, kind of like went like that, and then she was gone. Kind of the same thing with Eddie and Chavo, which is even more weird.
I thought you were saying at first that they were both in Chavo's arms.
Oh damn!
Yeah, it's like, and that's the thing, like that's what kind of made me separated from even more, because this is 2 years after my mother passed away, and Eddie Guerrero dies in the exact same way my mother did, in somebody's arms.
That's crazy.
Like,
yeah, you're right.
So I kind of like, I was like, Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels WrestleMania was great, but damn it, Eddie's gone. I can't. And then the next year, DX came back.
Oh dang!
So I'm like, and it wasn't the foul mouth, whatever, but it was a fun escape. At a time where I was about to enter, I mean, I didn't know it at the time, but I was around people that would become some of the worst I'd ever dealt with, and over aging father, self-aware that we are the gag DX was the comedy I needed.
I was gonna say at that point it stood for Dad Generation X.
Yeah, exactly. They were the comedy I needed in my life at the time, and that's how I kind of like came back. But from that point, like I wasn't watching every week. Like if I missed something, I could find out what happened and not,
yeah.
I wasn't disappointed to see the copyright symbol anymore. Like where it's like, oh my God, no, it's going off. God damn, like that wasn't there anymore. Then, admittedly, a few years later, The Rock came back for the first time. That's gonna get you back. The Rock came back, feuding with Cena. That was great. Then The Rock left and came back and feuded with Cena again, and that wasn't as great. And then and then you had the Daniel Bryan story, which was great when they finally got it right. And then the Shield broke up, and that pissed me off. And then Sting lost to freaking Triple H at WrestleMania, and that pissed me off.
I was there.
Oh God, congratulations, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then
if Seth Rollins,
that Mania was great.
I was saying, Seth Rollins hadn't walked out with the title, I think I would have been a disappointing show.
Yeah, like that WrestleMania overall wasn't bad. It was okay. Yeah. It wasn't as good as 30. But
DX versus NWO, that was interesting.
But like just Sting losing to like that, I was like Vince, you won. Get over it. Like seriously, like Triple H is Sting beating Triple H is not going to evaporate if Sting pins him in the middle of the ring. Like first Booker T, now now thank you Triple H, but back then fuck you Triple H. Anyway, that pissed me off. So I'm like, I'll watch Simon on fucking YouTube. I don't need to keep up with this. And then Kofi Mania happened. I'm like, oh, Kofi getting the title. Daniel Bryan playing the opposite. That brought me in too. And then Kofi won. Cool. Kofi won it. 6 months later, Brock Lesnar. Nah, I'm not watching this shit.
You beat him in like 8 seconds. Yeah.
So that's kind of how it's been. I'm still a fan of the idea, the sport of wrestling. It is because I like it so much that it was disappointing to see just how fucked it all was until the pandemic happened. Obviously, no fans, but like the creative direction was kind of starting to shift a little bit in the pandemic.
Got a little weird, yeah.
AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan for the Intercontinental Championship during the pandemic. I was into that. Freaking Seth Rollins becoming a more crazed villain during the pandemic. I was into that. The tribal chief was born during the pandemic. I was into that, and so I've been coming back to it as a viewer more in the last 2 or 3 years, kind of more than I was in a decade prior, because, they've had stories that weren't as disconjointed, and they weren't even if there was like nothing else on the show, there was one thing that was going to keep you watching every week, whether it was Seth and Ray, or whether it was the Bloodline, or whether it was, Bobby Lashley's title reign, or whether it was, Drew McIntyre, whether it was Randy Orton, and Edge, which, that I couldn't know about the last man standing match, but the feud was good. So, yeah, all in all, on and off for WWE, AEW, glad it exists, TNA, somehow they survived. Definitely a fan, but my father's the mark.
That's awesome, man.
That's cute.
Awesome. Hell yeah.
I like it.
I'm rambled so hard. I am so sorry.
No, it's about you, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. So I know that a lot of things you do, you don't plan, I mean, you don't like plan to do them. They just kind of manifest into your life. But do you have
Yeah.
anything that you do want to manifest, like any goals or anything you want to do in comedy in the next couple of years?
Well, because of the fact that I didn't really have the goal of doing comedy when I started, I've
Yeah, right,
never,
exactly.
yeah, I've never really had a defined like I said it in 2018 when I first started getting on shows and I started to kind of see the difference between doing mics and shows and seeing that there was actually a difference and there was a level you needed to be on in order to not just get booked but stay booked. When I started experiencing that, I said, I'll go with this as far as my work merits will take me. Because of what happened in 2008 with the music industry, I don't have pressing at I don't have a desire to be a mainstream star because of like, you know, that was 2008. Like the entertainment industry has only comedy is one of the few things left that you can like in the right circles you can do what you want to do and still succeed in it without being property completely. Kind of, but not as much as music or acting or things like that. Especially not music. Like, I mean, but because I don't have like again, if my work takes me to that level, great. But for me, it's not like if I'm not a star, if I'm not working with, you know, if I'm not working with Chappelle and Burr and Silverman in 3 years, I ain't, it's not worth it. Like, it's like, and that's another thing because my comedy tenure so far, one of the things that has been so unorthodox about it is that I'm a fan first. So I don't have my personal interest as high as I do seeing talented people succeed,
Same.
which has gotten me both in a good way. It's gotten me both appreciation and positive flack. And I say positive flack because I've been told by people who do this, been doing this longer than I have, and are better than I will be by the time I'm dead, that I'm too unselfish. Because I'll see somebody who's like really fucking good, but they're not on this show, and they're not on that show, and they're not on this show, but there's somebody that is on this show or that show that I'm like, probably shouldn't be. But that person's got jokes. Why don't you replace that dick joke generator with this joke writer and see how the show turns out? And I'll be like, hey, have you seen this person? Have you seen that person? Have you seen that person? Hey, why don't you this person? And that's how I look at it, because it's like no matter how good or whatever I may be, comedy happens everywhere, every night.
Yeah, right, exactly.
One person cannot fill every slot on every comedy show everywhere the comedy happens. You need a roster of people that you can pick from to ensure that you have quality on any given show on any given night. And if one person is trying to go for everything without acknowledging that there might be some other people who can help keep shows alive until you maybe get to that place, then what's the point? So instead of saying, hey, put me on this, I'm like, well, this she's really talented and he's really good. So Sarah Martin, I mention her all the time. She's one of my favorite people, friends, comedians. She lives in California now, but she was a Boston comedian, and she's one of those people that I am not in a position to argue with about comedy. But when it comes to goals and aspirations, up until that point, I had none. I was only getting booked for a year and a half. So I'm like, I just want to see where this goes. And then she sat me down because she noticed, she was there when I started. She noticed I had gotten better than I was when I started, which was not a high bar to clear. And you know, I like being the whitest person in Norway. Yeah, that's easy. Well, who do you have to be the whitest person in Norway? Not a lot of competition. So she sat me down in Worcester for an hour before she moved out west, and she said, Lloyd, you're one of the most supportive people in the scene, and you love comedy, and that's so rare in comedians, which I thought was a weird thing. Like, why is loving comedy? How is loving comedy as a comedian rare? Like that's disturbing. Ego doesn't drive any of us. But she sat me down for an hour and basically said, "But Lloyd, you are too good to bury yourself under advocating for everybody else."
Oh, wow.
It's her words. Now again, did I agree with her? I again, it's the Lenny Clark argument. I can't tell them that they're wrong. Like she's won festivals. She's been doing this like for over a decade. At that point, I can't tell her she's not correct. And she's seen plenty of shitty male comedians in her time. I'm not in a position to tell you're not, but I'm too good to not to undersell. Like that was a weird. My goals shifted in that moment, kind of, because again, somebody who knows this more than I did. I was doing it for 4 years. I was booked. I've only been getting booked for a year and a half. I know I'm a child, know nothing. With somebody who's been doing this and I decided at that point that I would try to advocate for myself more. Like, okay, I'll send the avails more often. You know, I'll inquire. I'll actively seek out festivals, you know, more than I used to. But I can't bring myself to put my own interests ahead of the good of a scene, which is why my goals and aspirations are really just, if I'm good enough, let that be where it takes me. I don't kiss ass. I don't tell people about things about them that I don't think are true, good or bad, just to get ahead, which is another reason why somebody's like, you're too nice of a guy to be a boss of comedian. Okay, sure. But I know that the way I do comedy and the way I do business isn't going to get me as far as people who will, and there are also, there's people who I know have done things, or like if I know there's a Schneider among us, I'm not going to work with them. If I know there's a Weinstein type, I'm not going to work with them. If I know that there's somebody who would only work with somebody who looked like me if they needed the freaking hire, and not because I'm actually good enough to contribute to the product, I'm not working with them. And I know that doing business that way isn't going to take me as far as it would people who are willing to work with anybody, no matter what, all of that. And I know I'm not knocking that, because, you know, again, I'm in my late 30s. I started comedy later. I already had the stars taken out of my eyes from a previous entertainment experience. So I don't have the same reasons. I don't have the same why for doing this as other people. And I don't want to knock anybody who's willing to do whatever it takes to get to the top, because it may serve them well one day. You know, when I turned down that music deal in 2008, which the things they were asking me to do in the contract, and you know, get a tattoo on your chest that says, you know, basically F women, and wear a piercing here and a piercing there and a bandana here and a bandana there, and you're gonna get a ghostwriter, and you're gonna wear a wire so you can play this character. It's like, that's not me. There may be that might be for somebody. There's somebody for that role. I mean, Lil Wayne went on to fill it great, but you know, it's not me. But I can't be something I'm not just to get somewhere that I want to get to. So because I know that I only want to get as far as my work will take me, I only want to be in front of I only want to be on a show if I'm good enough. Like, if I'm not the guy for your show, and if I'm not going to contribute to this show's quality, and if I'm going to be the weak link in an otherwise strong lineup, I don't want to be on the show. Find this person. Put. You know what? I may not be the fit for this crowd in this market. Put Paul Kilmer in there. I'm probably not the best person for this market. Put Brooke Barstow right there. I don't know if I don't think I fit for this. Put Ira Claiborne in there. I don't want anything that's not good for the product. So I can't really project what my goals are because of how I do business, but I'm willing to go as far as my work will take me based off the merit. Best way I can put it.
That's awesome. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Do you have anything coming up that you want to promote or anything like that before we get out of here?
Well, I don't know how many people on the East, probably some people on the East Coast are going to hear this because that's where I am.
You know,
I'm
podcasts
gonna
go
do
all
what I
over
always
the
do.
world. They're available on
Yeah,
the
that's
internet all around the world.
That is true. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be in the. I don't think I'll be joining Sam and Athena in real life in the next month or so, which is a shame. So I won't promote any West Coast things. Hopefully one day. But what I'll say is this: at the end of every episode of Nick Martucci here in Boston has a show called Inappropriate Movie Database Game, and at the end of every show, he tells people, "What do you want to promote? Whatever." I'm like, you know what? Find me on social media. At Lloyd Legacy 617 on Instagram, X if you're still there, Threads, and Lloyd Legacy Sharp on Facebook. That's where you can find all the stuff that I have coming up, because right now I'm currently in the middle of preparing for not one but 2 weddings, and I am maintaining a very light comedy schedule until July, so that I don't fall any further behind. And I'm in one of the weddings as an active like part of the proceeding. I'm helping with the like I'm gonna be I'm groomsman, so to speak, and I'm possibly gonna be a best man, depending on an answer that is still pending from the bride. So
Wow.
I'm going to be on stage in Boston this week, Salem this week, and Lawrence, Massachusetts. If you know what Lawrence, Massachusetts, I don't blame you. But I'm going to be there this week. But for anything else, find me on social media, because even I don't know where the hell I'm going to be after this week, because the calendar is so jumbled. But it's all there because I put it there, because when I forget, I'm going to go look at the same place you're going to go look at to find it. So find me on social media. If you want to know what I'm doing, the Michael Jackson stuff, because all that's there too. Yeah, go on social media. Don't go on social media, but if you want to know where I'm going to be, go on social media. Then log off. Don't comment. Don't talk.
Hell yeah. You can find me across the board at Funky Sam Medina.
And I'm at She Shines For You, all spelled out, no numbers.
And everything else is at Hypothetical Comedy. Awesome, Lloyd. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you both for having me. And anybody who's listening to this, thank you for tolerating my never-ending fucking tangents and ramblings and dialogue. The fact that these two haven't been like, this guy talks too much. We just shut it down. I'm glad they didn't. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.